Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. This is Wake Run Collapse. I say good morning, and you're just listening to me talk because it is the morning and it's dark outside still, and I don't have a good lighting setup for you to be able to properly see my beard, and therefore we're just going to talk. Also, I've written down some talking points. So, my local bar trivia was Wednesday night. This is last night, and I go every week as long as I don't have something else that's stopping me, like if I've got to work really late or I've got some other event going on. So I went out last night, and I happened to pick up a friend of mine who's definitely like a good guy, but I tend to drink more when he's there. He's not like a bad influence or anything, but when I'm out with certain people, as some of you might be able to understand, I just have the tendency to adjust my behavior or actions in a certain way. The dynamic of the group changes. I mean, oftentimes it's a reflection of who else is there, etc., whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyways, so we went out, and I had, we'll call it more than one drink, because when you tell the internet the amount that you drink in a certain evening, some of them will not understand, which is great, and I love that. Some of them will call you a pussy, because you didn't drink as much as they thought you should have been able to, and some of them will call you a menace to society, because they feel that you drank way too much, and therefore should not be allowed to operate a motor vehicle for 45 days after this particular incident. So we're just going to say I had more than one. So what will usually happen at this point if I drink like I happened to last night is that I'll cut myself off early. I'll switch to water to rehydrate, and sometimes I'll mooch fries off of a friend's plate or whatever. And that way I avoid any risk of driving under less than optimal conditions. I'll hang out for, say, an hour or so. And sometimes that'll be necessary. But this time it wasn't. I still did it because no measure of safety is enough, and you have to ensure that you won't be a danger to anybody else on the road in addition to yourself and other people, but in the moment I couldn't really understand why. You know, I drank like this before, and it affected me differently. And I couldn't quantify it at the time until I got home, which is when I wrote this. And then I realized it. I'd made a commitment to spend 6.5 hours in bed every day for the entire week. That's a lame commitment to make, but I made it anyways. Clearly, before now, I'd been under-rested, and for a long time, I didn't think it affected my alcohol tolerance nearly as much as my overall energy stores. I never thought it'd be so substantial, but as it turns out, I'm capable of more than I had previously realized. I have more energy when I work out. I actually have the energy to work out. Sometimes. I mean, you can read a million articles on sleep deprivation versus getting the proper rest, and as much as you understand the difference it can make, it's hard to apply to your particular situation, which is the point of this video. Because you always justify a reason for staying up, or at least I always have. First, it's necessities. I have to get this done before tomorrow. I have to write the schedule, do this work thing, or complete my homework. And then it branches out to not quite necessities, which can be a little bit different. Doing something that might be due by the end of the week, but you know your life is going to be easier if you do it now. I better get it done anyway. And then it's I had a bad day, and this has made me happy in the past, so I might as well do this thing that cheered me up before, so I'll watch this 30-minute video or compilation of whatever, and before you know it, you're down the rabbit hole, and it becomes the norm. And you don't have a justification for staying up. You just stay up and fail to rest properly because it's what you always do. And I can't even begin to describe to you how long this has been going on. So that's what I needed to change about me. Well, amongst probably 30 other things that I have to change. I'm great at giving advice, and I'm terrible at taking it, especially when I know it'll actually be good for me. Because everyone else is uniform and universal, but my circumstances are different somehow. I'm a beautiful and unique snowflake, except I'm definitely not. As much as I resist it, I'm a human being. I have the same physiological limitations as everybody else, and eventually my energy stores and my time are going to run out, just like the rest of my species. And it's only when I accept my daily limitations that I can actually operate within the realm of what's possible, instead of just stretching myself way too thin and trying to power through it. What I really needed to do this whole time was take care of my body so that my body can take care of the other things. And in a greater sense. I needed to just take my own advice. Or take someone else's advice. I just needed to take any advice, and it probably would have started with that. So I've made the move from what was probably 5 or 5.5 hours, even though I would advise other people to sleep at least 7 hours a night, because remember, I thought I was a beautiful and unique snowflake, and making the change to make it 6.5. And then getting better at being in bed for 6.5 hours, which will guarantee that I'll probably sleep a good 6. And then maybe allowing myself to get a little bit more uninterrupted rest without having to get up and check something or do something else. And then once that's done, who knows what else I'm going to tackle. But the important thing is I'll be able to. I hope. Because I'll have made this one change, I'll have taken this one piece of advice, and then hopefully I can do the next one, because I did the first one. Now, the point of this video is not to encourage you guys to sleep more, although many of you could probably take that. The important thing is when you give advice to someone else, you should probably consider how it's going to affect your life, how you will benefit from it. How can you benefit from taking your own advice? What changes do you need to make now that you've been putting off for this long? So take your own advice. Be like me, but don't be like me. Don't wait until you literally can't do anything else and you must take your own advice. Take it before it's necessary. Because eventually all of our time's going to run out. And you want to be ready for it or not? I'd like to be ready for it. Thanks for watching.